Is this on?
Let me, did you?
I have no idea. I just did what you told me to do.
Yep, it's on down. The bathrooms are out this door. There are signs if you need them.
Well, she told me I only had 4 hours to get through this information. It's going to be condensed down a whole lot. So I always like to start out with a joke, just to kind of loosen me up. I don't really care if you're relaxed, because I'm not. So, but a friend of mine was telling me about his marriage. He was, struggling with his marriage, and said, "Man, I started taking my wife to the therapist. Once a week. We're in there, we're talking. So anyway, one day, he just pops up, grabs my wife, picks her up, scoops her on, lays a humongous kiss on her, puts her back in her chair, and the wife is like, "What just happened?" So he looks at her and he goes, "This is what you need to do with your wife. Every single week, 3 times, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. That's what your wife needs." He goes, "Look, I'm really busy. I cannot get her by Monday or Wednesday, but I'll have her here every Friday." So, needless to say, he is divorced now. But anyway, I'm gonna kind of whip through a couple things to kind of tell you about our company. Obviously, if you have not seen, has anybody not seen my van? Green and orange van.
Can't miss them.
You cannot miss them.
It's on the screen, Chuck.
It is on the screen. It was a trick question. So, if you have not seen this van and you're driving, I would really appreciate it for the safety of everybody around you to pull over and not drive anymore, because you cannot see if you do not pass one of these vans every single day. We've done a couple of things. I'm going to go through a couple of things about our business. The things that I get questions about: man, where did you guys come from? How in the world do you have 60 vans on the road in 6 years? How did you bring on employees? How did you hire 75 people in 6 years? All these questions about our business. And then I've got some funny pictures of why, what makes us different about contracting. Like actually somebody calls you, we show up, we do a good job, then they call us back. Not a real idea, I know, but it is working. So a couple of things I want to go through on this screen. My job is obviously the founder, visionary of the company. I'm getting the back feed. Thank you. I have been in business, self-employed, since 2001. Before that, I was talking to a guy today. Grew up in Norfolk. This is my stomping grounds. Went to St. Pius over on Little Creek Road. I went to Norfolk Catholic. I was a state champ in wrestling, track, cross country. I was real successful in sports. I was not nobody really wanted me in their class. And so when I'm having these meetings and people are falling asleep and paying attention, I understand, oh, that was me. So now I understand why they didn't want me in their class. But I knew classwork was not going to be where I excelled. After going to Norfolk Catholic, I went and wrestled at the little place around the corner called Norfolk State. So went there for a couple years, and ended up getting transferred to Newport News Shipyard Apprentice School, which is where I learned the trade of HVAC. What I'm really hoping is to educate parents on it is okay for your kids to get into trades now. We have plumbers making 80 to 100 grand a year, HVAC guys. This is a professional trade. So one of the reasons that I like doing this stuff is not necessarily just educating these young guys coming out of high school. It's actually educating homeowners and that, hey, look, this is a great trade. You can make money at it. It's not what it used to be, being frowned upon. Go to school, go to college. Not everybody's ready for college. I know I wasn't. I was, dyslexic, almost failed out. So I did fail 3rd grade because I had to go back and get a special school for dyslexia to fix that. So I missed a year there. Almost failed 6th grade at St. Pius. By the grace of God, I made it through that. high school, nearly failed out my senior year. Had to get a certain grade on my final exam, and did not get that grade, so he had to move, so he did not have to have me in class again. Everybody got like 108 on their final exam if they had a perfect score. So I realized schooling was not my magic. So getting into the apprentice school was an absolute blessing to me. I didn't even know what the hell that air conditioner was at that time. I'm 19, almost 20 years old. So graduated from there, obviously a good trade. I realized working with my hands was going to be a lot better idea for me. So went to work for a couple different companies. I was raised by a Navy chief. Character, integrity, and doing the right thing was put into my raising. Doing the right thing was really important to my parents, which I didn't always do. But I stayed between the lines. Really what I wanted to talk about with that is how we kind of transversed working for these companies that weren't character, integrity driven. It was hard for me to work for them. Has anybody ever worked for somebody that the character and integrity in you was higher than the person that you work for? Right. That's a horrible place to be. Horrible place to be. So my vision was, all the way back in 2001, was to give people a great place to work that they'd be proud of. One of the best compliments to me is one of my employees thanking me for offering them a place that they could do the right thing. Because there's so many people focused on money, focused on whatever, driving bottom lines, driving top lines, and not taking care of the people that are working for them, which gives you all the lines in business, right? The people. So one thing on this screen, obviously I'm the face of the company. Really, we didn't have any other face to use, so we used mine. If we had a choice, we probably would have picked anybody else. EOS, I did want to go through that. I read a book a month. Of course, I listen to a book a month on Audible. But anybody that's heard of the Entrepreneur's Operating System, it's a great book if you're trying to scale your business. One of the questions I get, how did you scale? This is one of the reasons. Traction and Get a Grip by Gino Wickman. He wrote both of them. Get a Grip was written for me because I like stories when I'm reading books. Traction is written for people like my son, who you'll notice his list of things that he does is a lot more than mine. Vice President, CFO, COO, Facilitator, Tetris Wizard. What that means is getting texts into houses, and it's impossible because we have too many calls. So he figures it out. I call him a Tetris Wizard. Managing Monster. My son is my best friend. He is my partner in business, and really, if it wasn't for him talking me into opening another business, I probably wouldn't have. Some of the things that I skipped was I did own that company since 2001. I went through a divorce that was horrific and forced me into a bankruptcy in 2015, which is not that long ago. My son said, "Dad, you're miserable. You need to open up your own company again." I'm like, what in the world? Payroll, employees? Are you kidding me? No, I'm not doing that. He said, "I'll do all of that." You'll do all that? The stuff I hate? Well, hell, I can get business. So that's what I did. I went out, faced visionary, went and got business, banged on doors, whatever I had to do, and he pretty much did everything else. I say babysitter, if anybody has employees will understand that. Swiss Army knife. He really is the get blank person, done person. Whenever anything needs to be done, he is the guy that everybody goes to. We have 75 employees. In 2016, there was me, there was Chase, and we had 2 guys in the field. And I'll go over that in a little while, but it's how we kind of scaled since then. So I'm going to pray that this does what I want it to do. It didn't. You said roll. All right, so anybody wonder what Worley does? I'm going to go through it really quick. We service, maintain, installation of heating and air conditioning, ductwork, plumbing, electrical, spray foam, crawl space encapsulations, suck out and install insulation with both the residential and light commercial. And we do service the peninsula and the south side. Like I said, I grew up over here. My son grew up, went to Tabb High School. My daughter went to Tabb High School. So we are on both sides. We pretty much go New Kent all the way to the, do not go into North Carolina. So pretty big place, but with technology, which my son had a lot to do with, we can pretty much work anywhere. A couple things about us, it might be a little bit different than everybody else. We have 5 master's licenses, so we're probably in the top 1% of DPOR contractors. Typically, you have 1 heat and air guy, that's all he does, 1 electrician, that's all he does, 1 plumbing license. So this is something we're extremely proud of. Just to let you know that I did not build this deck. The first job I ever did, the guy wanted it up on a deck, so he did that, but I did do the install. But man, I'm telling you, that's one of the prettiest jobs we've ever did, and the homeowner actually did the deck. But I've been around a long time. This is just going into, I'm not going to go through all this stuff, but I've done everything from radio shows, home solution, whole house solutions. I've spoken at national conventions. There's a picture of me back when I was skinny. I've actually worked the 790 AM radio show, Ask the Expert show with the train company, me and about 4 other guys, or 3 other guys. One of my heroes in life was Keith Bales. He was a pest control guy and barely graduated from high school, and the guy was the smartest building science guy you've ever met. I have been extremely blessed to be able to learn from people who are smarter than me, which is not really hard to find, but I like to associate with people that know more than I do about certain things. That is one of the magics of our business. I cannot do everything that my son can do, thank goodness. So one of the reasons that we've grown so fast is because the yin to the yang in business. I can't be doing everything that I'm doing. I couldn't pay my son $1 million to stand in front of 20 people he didn't know. But he's really great. He couldn't pay me enough money to stand in front of operations and getting all these managers to do what they're supposed to do. I couldn't do that. So it's really been a fantastic ride. Our vision is to provide peace of mind for our families at Hampton Roads in need of home services, and I listed those earlier. One of the things that really stands out in my heart, this actually is very similar to the one where my other company that I had, we've kind of put some twists into it, kind of merged our managers to help us develop this. This is just not me, it's our team of people. Worley's Home Services mission is to be Hampton Roads' leader in providing customers with total service and maintenance solutions for their home, putting Christian principles into practice through our industry in a safe and drug-free environment, using the latest developments in building science to solve the whole house solutions. Anything from mold to why is my ductwork sweating to, man, my attic is 1,000 degrees, it's freezing up in my attic. How do I stop that cold air from getting into my house? We are a whole house solution company. I cannot tell you how many referrals I get from other heating and air companies. They sell them a new unit, they're done. They're done for 10 years. They're never coming back. I want to take care of all the other stuff. I don't want you to have a reason to call anybody else. Once my guys come into their house, they're wearing booties, they're professional. My guys are not $10 guys, $20 guys. We have professional guys coming into your house that love what they do for a living, and their job sucks sometimes. Let's not get that twisted. You're sitting under a house and a water burst, it's cold, right? So, but if you love the people that you're working with and you create this team, at least the people that you work with, you like working with, you get a guy that's got a problem underneath the house or up in the attic, hey man, I'm gonna be here till 9 o'clock. And that guy drops everything to go and help the other guy so he's not missing family time tonight. It's a team. You gotta have a team. I understand there's going to be pros and cons to putting Christian principles into our mission statement, but it doesn't matter if you believe it, it's that I believe it, right? So I understand that you may either respect that or not respect that, but what most people, I think, want to deal with good people, and nobody can argue Christian principles are really, they're set on some great guidelines, right? Whether you agree with them or not. And I say that when I have an atheist that works for me. And I'm okay with that because he respects me, he loves me, he honors what we're trying to do in business. He just rolls his eyes when I read that part, right? I'm okay with that. But this is 10 Commandments. You cannot work in my company unless you have these 10 Commandments. You will be fired immediately. I'm not going to go through all 10 of those. But, anything from taking pride in your work to being a team player, all the things that are just natural things to be able to do. What I did learn is I can't teach you character, I cannot teach you integrity, and I can't teach you how to do the right thing. If you do not have that, I cannot teach that. I cannot teach that. If you don't have it, you're not going to work for us long. The greatest part about this is that not only I believe this, it's the people that work for us. The people that work for us scale out other people that work for us. What's that mean? Man, you're not doing this, you're not doing this, you're not they're holding each other accountable to doing the right thing. When a plumber walks on one of my HVAC jobs, or walks onto a job that was done by an HVAC company, and he goes, yeah, y'all did that? I go, nope, we didn't do that. There's no way. There's absolutely no way we did that. We'll take a picture, send it to the HVAC supervisor. Nope, never been there. So some people get confused when we're coming to the house for electrical and plumbing and HVAC. But what's that mean to me? It's a standard. How have we grown from 0, 3 people, 4 people, to 75 employees in 6 years? Is because we have a standard. People want to be held accountable for doing the right thing, I believe. There's other companies that may not believe that, but they probably don't have 60 trucks on the road in 6 years. I'm sorry, was that my outside voice? Did that come out loud? So, again, not going to go through all the values, but one of the things that I did highlight, our secret weapon in business is our people. Attract, develop, retain passionate, caring employees who exceed expectations of our clients, that are driven by character and integrity, and have a commitment to their personal growth and the growth of their company. You really want somebody that's working for you. This is the toughest question any business owner can answer. It's a tough question. Why? Because you love people that work for you. At least I do. I am guilty of being loyal to people more than they're loyal to me. And I'm okay with that. It's going to work out, right? God's got a plan. So, God comes in, he makes a mistake, something goes wrong. The first question that comes to your mind, listen to this if you're a business owner, this is the toughest question I've ever asked myself. If I knew what I knew now, would I hire him again? God, that sucks. Because you love that person. They've been there a couple years, they've been there a couple months. You're like, man, this guy's got potential. But you can't love them more than they love themselves. You can't love them into doing the right thing. They're either going to do it or not do it. Those are the tough questions that we have had to make on more than one occasion. And I have fired people that I love. I have given them an opportunity to go other places and find out where they belong, because it ain't here. Top tier training, I'm going to pop over that. Commit your work to the Lord, and your plans will succeed. Proverbs 16:3. I read that probably 20 years ago, and it just really popped out. Proverbs is one of my favorite places that I go. Understanding the debt is part of business, which any banker will agree. You got to have some debt. I don't like debt. I'm a Dave Ramsey graduate. I have paid off a significant amount of debt. Worley Home Services will financially be responsible, using it strategically to move a company forward, but not allow our expenses to exceed our income. I hate debt, but unfortunately you got to have it. Those vans are expensive. Since divorce and bankruptcy, I started over in 2016. The first 3 years, the companies that I'm very much into acquisitions, finding companies that are great companies, great reputations, and want to either retire or move on from the business. My first business was in August 2016, bought the Cross-Based Company. 17 was Rick's, 18 was Rose Brothers. We did not roll out. This is hard to believe. Everybody seen the vans, right?
Yep.
You seen a couple? 2019, January, I wrapped my first van. We have 60 vans since then. JD Triplett, small company, great guy, great customer service, advanced comfort. 2020, I bought 3 plumbing companies. I had a friend of mine, actually a customer, refer me to Get Smart Plumbing. He had a heart attack and passed away, immediate. Widow, no way out. So I came in and paid off her trucks and got her out of this big, devastating hole at 60 years old. You lose your soulmate, and then you're stacked on with all this debt and don't know how to run a plumbing company. So we were able to help her and help us at the same time. We took that company and another company we've taken. That company are doing about $300,000 a year. We do $3 million a year in plumbing 2 years later. So we are really good at scaling business. EOS is a big part of that. Sweetlands, some of y'all from Norfolk will recognize Judy Sweetland. And then A.B. Harris and ASAP. These are a couple of the logos that you may recognize. Whoops, dang. This is Worley's, if you haven't seen the van. This is a couple great families that trusted us with their baby. I take it seriously when I take an acquisition. I know that I'm taking a child, and they're selling their child, which is a very delicate situation. I know it was delicate when I sold mine. But anyway, this, you may recognize some of those logos. Rick Jr. works for us, and that is my son, who is 28 now, and literally runs a $10 million business at 28 years old. What's even more impressive is running a $2 million business at 22 years old. So he is my secret weapon in business. A couple of things we don't want to reflect what is normal in business. Some of y'all may have heard of C12. It's a Christian CEO group. It's a fantastic group. One of the things that I love about it is operation management. My son does organizational development, Chris, financial management, obviously Chase, revenue generation, that's me. And then we have another aspect, which is not normal to business, is ministry. We have a corporate chaplain on staff. Again, people are asking, why are you growing? How is this business being different than everybody else? That is a humongous thing in our business and why we have grown at the pace we have. The funny thing is, anybody be in the military, there's a chaplain, right? So where we got this idea was there are companies out there that actually have chaplains for companies. Some smaller, some, but the only way they could scale a corporate chaplain was to have it so one chaplain was in more companies. And it's a neat program, but I learned about it years ago. We implemented it about 3 or 4 years ago, and it has changed our business. Because here's what happens. We have somebody, your wife's leaving you, something bad's going on, you can't make a payment on your house. You're not coming to me. I'm your boss. It's not going to happen, right? So Chris, I don't talk about stuff. He can go and talk to them, and they have a place to go, someone to talk to, someone that can help them, just like it is in the military. You have a chaplain, he's kind of for everybody, right? So that's why I think it's a great thing. We've had a guy that his wife almost died, so he was at the hospital with them, praying for them, helping them, anything that they needed. We had thought about firing this guy, and we were informed. He couldn't tell me why, but he said, you cannot fire this guy. He's got some situations that he cannot help. You cannot fire him. And thank God, because then, people talk, and then we heard there's a grapevine that his wife was dying. So I'm glad we didn't fire him, right? So it is really important to our company. Couple things, and we'll go through to much is given, much is expected. How do we go? And 10 times our revenue in 6 years. In 2016, we really were only open 4 months. We had 4 employees. The first 12 months in business, we did over $1 million, which is 4 times what we did in 5 months. Couple acquisitions here. 2019 is when we started branding. I wish I had a pointer to kind of follow, but anyway, we finished up at 10.2 last year. You'll notice every year we've pretty much, that's not going to work. Pretty much, and I can't touch a screen, so pretty much at a rate from nothing less than a 17% growth rate. Part of that's through acquisition. Part of that is from doing a great job. Let's say we go over and fix your plumbing at your house. Your wife had such a great experience with my guys. Booties, professional, came in, knocked it out, did a great job. Why would you go to Google? They're like, that was such a great experience. Let me call them for my heating and air and my electrical problem. So we'll buy a heating and cooling customer, and they'll become our electrical HVAC crawl space customer. Okay? We want you to have no reason to call anybody else. And then through, I believe, Put Your Money Where Your Mouth Is, in the last 7 years, 6.5 years, we have given away probably close to $500,000 in monies. And I don't say that to brag. I say that our goal is to impact the 757. How do you do that? You help people, right? Too much is given, much is expected. So dumping back into this community is extremely important to this. I highlighted this earlier. If I had to put 75 people on this chart, I would need 2 screens wide. All right, so I did not do that. What we did was we went over people, and I had another chart on here that I'd done back in 2017 when I had done another presentation back in 17 and went through and crossed out everybody not here that did not meet our standard. Eventually caused themselves not to meet our standard in personnel and had to move on for good reasons or bad. It is amazing to me that the people that were down in the bottom of our organization are now running it. They're running it now. So these are our top 5 to 6 key players. Obviously our corporate chaplain. This is extremely important to us. All these are the different, from plumbing install to office to electrical. And it's really cool. You don't really need a title in our business. It's just get stuff done, right? Everybody's stepping up to help everybody else. We have a great organization. My strength is people. I went through this. I haven't finished 2023 yet, but we have a training calendar. We are investing into our people every single year. It is tens of thousands of dollars that we are investing into our people. Why?
Help make them better, help make you better.
So here's a thought. Let's say I had a guy, I know the guy was trying to sell me training when I heard this, so I keep that in the back of my mind when he's telling me this. 15 years ago, I'm at a conference. Guy goes, one of the guys raised their hands, the other contractor, and he goes, man, I'm not investing into my guys because they'll take all the knowledge and they'll leave. I mean, it's not inaccurate, right? He could leave, right?
Yep.
So we spend all this money, and he goes, but what if you don't spend money, you don't train them, and he stays? I'm like, where's the checkbook at? All right, I mean, how accurate is that? Again, he was trying to sell training, but I wanted to throw up. I'm like, he is so accurate. What if he stays and he sucks? So anyway, invest into people. I have taken a handful of kids, and I say kids, anybody under 30 is a kid. All right? I mean, so, yeah, we don't know anything until we're 30, and then I'm really struggling if we know anything at that point. But so anyway, I have taken several kids under 30 years old, sent them to Texas, dropped $10,000 on them between hotels and getting this training on sequence operation for heat pumps or plumbing or whatever it is, spending all this money on them in the hopes that the character, the integrity, the doing the right thing is invested in them. They see we're telling the truth. They want to stay with us. Some of our best employees have worked for us, left, opened their own company, or went to another company, or went back to another company. They came back. Yeah. Yeah. Best employees I've ever had. Went somewhere else and came back. So you see all this greener grass. You know what's under the grass, right? Why it's so green? Manure. Right. It's crap. Right? So invest in the training. Marketing calendar. Obviously invest into marketing. You will see nothing here. You're not going to hear me on the radio. You're not going to hear me like the same ad 58 times. You want to kill the heating and air guy, then just stop. I get it. That's your name. I don't want marketing like that. I want marketing that touches people. Because relationships are everything. I want to do business with somebody I like. I think people want to do business with people they like. So if we're a likable company and we hire good people that they don't care what you know, they don't care if you're the smartest plumber, smartest HVAC guy in the world, they care that you care. Why is my house doing this? Why am I having problems? And we tell you, right? They don't care how much you know, they care how much you care. And that, again, goes back to why we have grown so fast is because of our people. This year, every month, if I could take one reason other than taking care of clients or taking care of employees, would it be worth it? I strongly recommend that you tithe on your business, on the net profits of your business. Tithing works. It is biblical. I would say test me in this. And every month, we actually, through COVID, we kind of backed off of having our monthly meetings together. We started that up again. One of the things that we dropped off was our guys voting for what ministry we want to support this month. One of them's Cancer Society. One was a Whitestone Ministry. It was a small place out in Gloucester. One of the guys promoted it. Peninsula Rescue Mission is huge. That is such a great organization, getting guys off the streets. And so we just kind of, Edmark, I think, is over in Portsmouth. So it doesn't matter where the city is, it matters where our company is. So my goal was, I know me and Chase are very equally yoked. Y'all may have saw on the news last week, or I guess about a week or so ago, that we helped out one of our employees 30 days after she came to work for us. Her house burned down to the ground.
Oh my.
30 days after she came to employ with us. She's a wreck. She's got kids. Everybody got out of the house, dog, everything was on the news last week. Because their house is finally getting built a year later. They're getting ready to move in next month. So the reason I bring that up is I was trying to create a culture of our people. Hey, this is important to me. You're supporting this ministry, we will match it. Like, we want to support a group of people that have a helping heart and helping. It doesn't help if it's just me or just me and my son. I want our whole team of people to be invested into, we're not just doing this to make money. I could go make more money going to sell for somebody else. That's not why we're here. We're here to impact the 757. How do we do that? We have to have business, right? Back to Lacey. She had worked for us 30 days. We gave her and her family $5,000 in gift cards and other stuff to help her through this obvious mess. Do you realize if you have a fire, you don't have clothes? She don't have clothes. She don't have shoes. Like, how can we help you? And that's what she said. Walmart gift cards. Like, we need shoes. I got to get my kids to school, you know. So why do we do that? Let me tell you something. There is one person on my team that believes in my company. I mean, a lot of people believe in art, but Lacey is bought in, right? So she believes in our company just like we do. So getting that helping heart, and that, honestly, I will give credit to our company. There was even a division in our company that did I didn't even know this, that did a GoFundMe for her. So not only did we give her as a company, but our team came together and put together a GoFundMe, which I think is phenomenal, which is what I'm trying to create, right? So a couple of things there. These are just some of the ones that we monthly give to Boys Home up in Covington, Virginia. They actually help kids that it's not bad kids, it's bad parents, and they give them a place to stay. And they, I'm talking like drugs and like bad stuff, right? So, but we give them that monthly because we want to help these kids have an opportunity to get off the streets. Have you seen this before? Now this kind of goes, I call it "Come On Man" or "What's Stuck in Chuck's Crawl Space." Some of these pictures, you're going to go, I don't do heat and air for a living. But really? Like, that was done by a professional company. So this is more along trying to help and fix your house. Now this one, grab some beer. I do have some funny ones in here. This is one of my competitors in Portsmouth, I think it is. I'm just kidding. This guy is actually, that's a picture on J. Clive Morris, this guy over here in the picture, literally smoking a doobie, driving down the road. I did block out the heat and air guy's name because it was just an employee. Why do we harp on employees? Because if you don't have good employees, you're not going to have a great business. Here's a rule. Great people great business. Sucky people.
Sucky business.
Thank you. So this year, this was actually on J. Clyde Morris too. I was thinking it was behind Rips, which is the building we just bought, but it's not. It's actually a convenience store. I mean, there was no room for the beer, so they had to take it out of the cases. But this is on the way to a heating and air job to do the install. This year, I was at a professional conference.
Oh, wow.
I was like, my competition. Whew. So, this, I mean, sometimes we just show up. Sometimes we just show up and look better, right? So, this year, I mean, I like the brick underneath, propping up the right side of that. Leaving the old equipment. This is on, I can tell you exactly where this was. This is over in Hampton on a slab house. But left the 30-year-old train unit there and put some temp star in. But this year, yeah, that one wire goes to the living room. Yeah, I don't know where that goes.
And it's right around the insulation too. That's the important.
This is the best one I got. Anybody see a problem with this?
Oh my God! Is that literally hung?
Support beams or cut down?
See the saw cuts across the top?
Yep.
So there is a, if you look further in the picture, this is a brighter.
Oh my God.
See that going straight down? See that 2x4 that goes straight down? That would be holding the weight of the roof.
Yep.
See it all the way in the back? See it all the way in the back? So they cut every single one of these where you see a silver thing. Cut it. Cut it at the bottom, cut it at the top. Did I mention what this 2x4 is supposed to hold up?
The roof.
The roof. So what's the worst thing that you can do to that roof?
Add weight.
Add weight.
Add weight with
This
that.
is a real picture of a real job.
That's crazy.
So,
Like 4 eye bolts too.
I mean,
It's
it just, sometimes we just show up and look good. So,
from the-
I like this. This is the copper freon line that's supposed to be one straight line. Kind of a little curly cute. So what happens is all the oil in the freon
Sits at the bottom.
sits at the bottom and causes a blockage, kind of like an artery. But
Oh my goodness!
that is fastened to the wall. You had to.
Wait a second.
You had, yes. All right, so I wish I had one of those things on the wall where I could move it. So this is the way it should be. This is the way it is, all right? So everybody's seen their air conditioner outside behind their house. What's it look like? It looks just like this,
The flat.
but this is the door. So it
Yeah, but
should
now you can
be,
dry your hair by standing.
yeah, I mean, and then right by the door so you can walk out and you can just dry your hair, right? So some of these pictures are just, there is no way that is possible.
No
I mean,
way.
these are DIYs, right? Like, these people thought
These
I
have
got
to be
this at home,
DIYs.
right? Like, their husband did this crap or something.
Some of these are
Why's
enhanced.
it gotta be husband?
Some of these are enhanced.
Well, I gotta be a guy. Come on.
Some of these are, I know, right? How crazy this.
I promise you this was done by somebody.
So this is, you ever seen one of these on the top of your roof?
Yeah.
Yeah, see why it's so black
It'll be fine.
right here?
That's
Because there's no heat leaving the flue, it's not leaving the flue pipe like this.
They needed to make it longer.
Yeah, so that way when you walk by it, you could burn your
I'm
face.
wondering, do they still use that door?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, that's a question. How about this one?
Nice.
So flue pipe should go straight up. Straight up. What happens when it doesn't go straight up? It back feeds,
Well, it's not
Back into the
connected, is it?
it back, no, it's connected. It goes up, back down, and through a sidewall of the basement.
out the door.
So this is where the carbon monoxide backs into and fills the space.
So is my gas.
Oh, it's gas.
Take that with your foot.
Oh, yeah, of course it's
Imagine.
gas.
That's carbon
Put a match
monoxide
right there where
spilling.
it's supposed to go up, it'll blow it out.
Yeah,
It's
spilling
going back.
into that basement.
Okay.
So this one, so we bid this job, and to replace a bigger unit is a lot more expensive. So if you put 2 small units in there, run it with flex, and it will be fine until when?
Until it's not.
Till it rains. Then the ductwork gets wet, and then what happens to the ductwork? It falls off. I like the cardboard. Y'all see the cardboard up there?
Well, that's why you gotta wrap it in the trash bags, it looks like right there. So it's just,
There's cardboard right there. So, I mean, it's going to stay forever, I'm sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, it can't possibly be an oil trap in this one either, right? So why would you do that? Because you'd have to cut it and like put connections and solder and make joints and put an elbow in. Yeah, it's too much time.
That's a lot of time.
I don't have time to
It's
do
too
that.
much time. It's free if it's that. Ductwork's a little pinched off on this one.
That's true.
So 50% of all installations, I have actually an exact percent based on North Carolina Alternative Energy, does some facts. These are the types of things that I'm trying to show you. This was at the top of a pull-down staircase. It just ran the ductwork right over the hole. It's a little difficult getting into the attic when you run ductwork across the, you know what a pull-down staircase is? Okay. You're not getting in this attic, so we had to pull the ductwork out to get into it. Ductwork just coming apart, but I had an extra piece of 2x4, so I propped it up so it wouldn't fall out anymore. Air just leaking right into the attic. Typically what happens there is you sweat and condensation, mold, mildew. I mean, it just kind of slipped out. I forgot to screw it, you know. Air just leaking out, just gushing out into the attic space, which is fine until it gets hot in the attic.
Yes.
And then starts sweating and mold. Well, so what happened was, this is new construction. This is why new houses, a builder will build a different house for his wife than he will yours. All right, because this wouldn't happen in his wife's house. So these two are too skinny, so they just stopped insulating here, started on the other side of the 2x4s, because the 2x4s are up against that metal. It was too wide. So they couldn't put insulation there, so what did they do?
Put a little
They
insulation.
did. Yeah, throw a little insulation from the attic up there. That's actually funny. So this is the typical attics that we see. I'm going to show you some pictures of what our attics look like when we're done. This here is just a big butt hole. And here's a sidewall where you have like electrical connections. You ever walk past an electrical connection? You're like, dang, that's like 30-degree air coming out of my wall. It's because the back of the wall is probably an attic. See, that's where all the arrow is for. So this one here is actually a staircase going up. So the top of this staircase, that's why it's always cold in your staircase. So these are things that I bring up that a heating and air guy is not going to look at. They're just going to swap out, hey, you know what? You're not comfortable in that one room. Let me just throw another 4 tons onto the house. Then we got mold and mildew. So it's a nightmare. We like testing. I love this thermostat job. This is just great. I didn't have any screw things, so I just went ahead and taped it, because that'll probably last forever. Yeah. Duct tape heals everything. Poor duct design, sweating duct work. It was too much effort to insulate the duct, so I just tied a piece of flex to it. Water damage. You know, didn't warn the homeowner, fixed the plumbing, didn't warn the homeowner that their floor was rotting out. Mice could not possibly find that hole from a crawl space. They could not possibly get up there, or snakes or anything else, right? So we have stuff all the time where you see the duct just laying on the ground. I mean, it's just laying on the ground. It just came off, it wasn't installed properly. And then, of course, you got all this funk of nasty PVC. Does anybody know what's inside that PVC? I mean, inside that cast iron?
Smell.
Give you a hint, it's connected to a toilet. But, so what we'll do is we'll just run new PVC and just leave that under your house. It's great. This here is just absolute disgusting mold underneath the crawl space. I'll show you some pictures. This, I promise you, is not DIY. This is in Gloucester, Virginia, and I took this picture 15 years ago. I walked behind the house. He goes, yeah, my furnace is out back. I want to see if you can tighten it up.
Oh my.
Let me draw a picture for you. See this cord? Right? See the cord? That's plugged into the fan that is in there. This is a wood furnace. So you open this door, you took a wood furnace out of a house, stuff wood in there, let it burn. The fan blows the heat. I mean, don't miss the ladder. Do not miss the ladder. That's an extension ladder 32 feet long. Holding the ductwork up that's insulated with black poly.
And I repeat,
I mean, you gotta give
somebody
credit for-
DIY.
You gotta give him credit for the,
Ingenuity,
ingenuity on that.
amazing.
Yeah.
Ingenuity,
This is a problem
absolutely.
solver. You should hire him.
I
and train him.
am not hiring you. So I can promise you that will not. Sometimes people think they're smart, right?
He can be trained.
Yeah, he's got potential. I can see it.
No, that's
So anyway, one of the best pictures ever, but insane. So here's where we get involved, where we're kind of, what's different about Worley's Home Services versus other heating and air companies or plumbing or electrical companies. We like to kind of use these places. You may have heard of a couple of these companies, Energy Star, Environmental, EPA. There are some things that you can do to a house that can find all of these problems that I was showing you up in the attics, where you got bare sheetrock and no insulation, and you don't need a bigger air conditioner. You might just need to insulate your house. So this is the type of stuff that we find. We put a negative pressure right here. This is a negative pressure door. So what that does is makes all the leaks in your house. Everybody knows your house is not very tight, right? Unless it's being built now. They are a lot tighter now. So what happens is you have all these leaks going both ways. You may have a positive room and a negative room. What this fan does is puts a false negative pressure on the entire house. So all the air is going in one direction, so we can measure it. Then what we're doing is trying to find all these leaks and then go back, and I'll show you some pictures later, how we go back and spray foam those places. Step above average, U.S. Green Buildings is a great program. Obviously, just taking a step above average. These are the types of things when we're doing installations, protecting your carpet. Again, people don't care how much you know, they care about what? How much you care. That shows a housewife, houseman, whatever. They shows that you care about their property. This here is talking about all the negative pressures. This here is actually a digital manometer that actually shows how bad the house is leaking. But you can see all these places, from drop ceilings to open ladders to plumbing pipes going out. There's just a lot of leaks in your house. This here is a great thing that I took from a friend of mine, that just when you're going to get a heating and air conditioning estimate, an insulation estimate, and plumbing estimate, these are all the different things that matter, that most people just think indoor unit, outdoor unit. That's all. Everybody's the same. Everybody has the same license. Everybody's 24 hours. Everybody. No, that's not necessarily a true statement. Our industry is unfortunately, anybody who fogs a mirror gets hired, especially now. I was asking one of y'all earlier. Here's a trivia question. The answer is different now versus 10 years ago. Here's a trivia question. All right, y'all ready? Is it harder to hire an employee or find a customer?
Employee.
Now, 10 years ago, what's the answer? Customer. So, go back to what I was talking about when I first started. Take care of the employees, they will take care of your customer, and you'll never need to find another one. So anyway, these are all the things that are important, not just the equipment. How do you control the quality control audits? We have two guys in my company that, and this is both positive and negative. I have two guys in my company can literally bill $1 million off of their truck because they are phenomenal at their business. They are paid extremely well, and their character and integrity and doing the right job and hammer down. They love Worleys. They bleed green. I pulled them out of their trucks that they bill $1 million a year off of. Well, Chuck, I thought you were a smart business guy. Why the hell would you do that? Because they are training the guys under them that our standard matters. That was a very expensive investment. Why'd I do it? This is the type of thing. This is an average installation, the value of installation. I mentioned North Carolina Alternative Energy Corporation did this years ago. 90% of tested, this is a third-party test. 90% of all systems, energy wasting, comfort robbing problems. Duct leakage. I showed you all those pictures, all the duct leaking in the attic. 93% of all jobs done that they tested are leaking. So, just to do the math, because I'm not real great with math, 100 systems are installed. How many are not right?
93.
Okay, I'm just checking. All right. Oversizing of equipment. Man, you got that hot room over in the back. Let me just throw another ton of air conditioning at it. Oh, great. Now I got moldy ducts because the duct's getting too daggone cold. Start sweating. Now it's dripping through my ceiling. So 47% incorrect refrigerant charge. This one scared me. Freon, all right? 54% of every job. So 100 jobs are done. How many are not right? All right, I just want to make sure y'all are listening. Incorrect airflow, this is not hard to believe with all the pictures I just showed you, 70%. We've had people go and have a brand new system installed. Hey, my system's still not working. The guy told me to call you. Great, so I get a $500 job. He got a $10,000 job. Great, but why would I go fix that?
He's gonna be drunk.
He will never call anybody else.
That's right.
Because everybody else is just, I'm not coming. So, I thought this was great. We go into very excruciating detail, especially when we're doing duct systems. We guarantee every single room is going to be the same temperature. Why do we do that? Because we spend money. I'm into a job, let's say it's a duct system. I'm into the job 20 hours, at least 10 to 15 hours, every single install before I touch the job. What's everybody else do?
They just show up.
They go buy a whole bunch of duct and slap it in. Room by room load calculations. Every single room is going to be the same temperature. It is excruciating how detailed this is. This year we talked about the negative pressure testing with the EPA, finding problems. This is red. Red is bad because that's heat coming in from the attic. This is a picture of a bath fan. The heat from the attic is coming into the house. It's leaking, right? This here is a picture of a bath fan, or excuse me, a recessed can light. All the heat and around the edges, heat and air conditioning coming through. It's a flare camera. So what we do, this picture here on the right, yeah, the right, this is the top of that picture. So this is that, and then we put a can over top of it and spray foam it, so we stop any air leaks through our house. This here, we're sucking out all the insulation in the house, and we're spray foaming where all these, I could stick a business card down between the sheetrock and the 2x4s. Okay, so there's all leaks. I said, Chuck, that's just a little crack. Yeah, but there's thousands of them throughout your house. So we spray foam everything. Very tedious work. This year, you said all those electrical. I tested one house who was an electrician over in Seaford, Virginia, over in Yorktown. And I tested his house because he's like, man, I just built my own house. I want to go and test it. Tightest house I've ever tested. Why? He's an electrician. He knows these are holes. Now, he don't do this for all his clients, but he does it as his house.
He don't want his plastic plate.
He does not. He does not. This is what a properly installed attic space looks like. See all the baffles that allows all the... so the reason those are important is so that insulation doesn't stop the airflow coming in. So the science of a house, I told you I'm kind of a building science geek. Science of the house is, everybody know what a soffit is going up the front and back of your house? You got that opening, right? So heat goes up there and cools off the back of the shingles. So the shingles do last 30, 50 years, right? So if you block those holes and that hot air, even though it's 100-degree air outside, that hot air is going across the back of the shingles, it will cool down the roof and save your shingles. If you block those, that will not happen. So that's why we put the baffles in. The walkway is just a safety thing. So the reason for that is I don't want my guys falling through the attic, because as soon as we blow in all this insulation, this is 20, 15, 16 inches deep, what's going to happen? Your wife's going to want a recessed can light in the bedroom 38 feet from the opening, and I can't get there. So I put that in for us, you and us. One, so my guys don't fall through the ceiling, they don't mess up the insulation, and your wife is happy because she did get the recessed can light she wanted after we did the install. Spray foam in the attics, we don't do this a lot, but it can be done. It's spray foam in the attics. It will significantly change a room over the garage. But that's spray foam in the roof deck instead of doing this insulation here. A lot more expensive, but it can be done. This here is a typical heating and air conditioning install. Happy ductwork. That was one of my happy employees. Put a smiley face on the end of the duct. You'll notice it's not insulated because if you encapsulate a crawl space, the ductwork will not sweat if done properly. Air cleaners, high efficiency air cleaners, ductwork with some tight pictures. This is up in the attic. We took the time to run. So most people, if you ever gone up in the attic, you got ductwork running right down the middle of the attic, so you can't get to anything. So we took the time to run them up and over. So you just got to duck under them and not crush them. This here is what an encapsulation looks like. The reason I kept this picture in here is, you see this little thing here? See where the blue's showing? There's blue on the bottom of that duct. I do what's called a happy check. After every single install, we have a guy that goes back for free, goes back and makes sure the job is done to my standard. Why is that important? Because I don't want someone else doing a presentation with my pictures of it. They got to be right. They got to be perfect. Remember my guys, when they walk into a house, whether it's a plumbing guy, an air conditioning guy, an electrician guy walks in and says, man, you don't do this heating and air, he'll laugh at you. There's no way we would do that. That's not our standard. So we caught this on a happy check. So we went back and obviously taped that down. Right? See, the left side's taped, the right side's not taped well. So not perfect. Never want to be perfect. While I say that, this is one of my favorite pictures. Suffolk houses are so tall. We love Suffolk houses. This was great. You can see we just finished rolling it out too. You see all the bumps on it. But I said perfect, which brought me to Nick Saban, who was one of my favorite coaches. Whether you like Alabama or not, you got to love this attitude. He said, we are peerless. We do not have competition. We are not worried about who we are playing. We are playing against perfection. Because every single play designed on our offense is designed to do what? Score. It's not a first down. Every play that we create is a touchdown. If everybody does their job. So if you create a culture that everybody needs to do their job, we're going to score a touchdown every single day. And that is our goal as a company. This is a touchdown. You think they refer us?
Every day.
She's got a light switch at her door. Why is that important? Well, because the pest control guy kept charging her $3,000 a year to fix stuff that she has no idea if it did it or not. Will she check now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Sump pumps, again, ductwork. We do geothermal stuff. This year was a great job. Did this years ago. I replaced this guy's ductwork. 3 months later, had to go back and replace his ductwork because he had another storm. So I refused to put the ductwork back in the crawl space. So we ran it up the side of the house because he'd already bought the equipment. Ran it up into the attic space. And now he never has to replace his ductwork. They called me a couple years after we did the install and he said, guess what's in my front yard? I got nothing, man. I'm in the middle of 6 things. I have no idea what's in your front yard. All my neighbors' ductwork. And he loves us? Yeah. Because he's the only one on the street that did not, again, back to Seaford, did not have to replace his ductwork that way. Tankless water heaters, regular water heaters. That is it. Not bad. All right. I was rolling. Thank you. So, anybody have any questions about crazy stuff going on in their house that would like me to fix it? Yes, ma'am.
I have a question. So if you go out and you find some of these problems, do y'all do all of the work or do y'all just do the HVAC and stuff? Or do you work with subs who do, like if there's foundation repair that needs to be done or rot or floor joists?
That's a great question. Our subs are very minimal. I have maybe 1 or 2 guys that I trust to sub anything to. And we are inspecting after they do it. Not because I don't trust them. Yeah, it's because I don't trust them, right? I want to make sure it's up to our standard because really you're trusting me. It doesn't matter who did it. But 98% of what we do is in-house.
So y'all can handle the things like repairing rot, floor joist, all that stuff as well as,
Yeah, our main focus, heating and air, electrical, plumbing, crawl space encapsulations, insulation, attic, that stuff, that is our main. But if there's something, we're already in there doing something else, then I do have a handful of guys that can come in and do anything, like flooring or tile, or, like, we do have that capacity. It's not what we focus on, our focus on what we have masters in. Right. And even though I do have a home improvement contractor license, and I know I could do millions of dollars a year in home improvements, but our main focus is master's programs with heating and air, electrical, and plumbing.
and one more if I could.
All right.
So one of the problems I always run against is the encapsulations versus the flood vents. How do y'all handle that?
Another great question. So we're preparing our crawl spaces wet, damp, floors are rotting out, sweating, condensation, a horrible crawl space, right? So we're going into this, we're preparing, if we're in a flood zone, we're preparing for the 99-year storm. So every 100 years, we're going to have water in that crawl space where it's just an Isabel. Do you remember Isabel?
Yes.
2003, nightmare. I know you do if you're
I do.
in insurance. So we're preparing for that 99-year storm. So we're just going to let our house rot out until the storm gets here to take it out, right? So what I do is a little bit of both. So we have vents that have already been approved through FEMA and all that those holes are already there, the 8x16s are already there. So we put pressure relief valves in. So we encapsulate, they're sealed closed until water hits them and
So
they
they will
open.
still break away for a flood?
They will.
Because that's my biggest thing, is I have some contractors who go into areas and they will encapsulate, or they'll have pest control people who will go into a home and suggest people close up those vents. And they just removed all their floodproofing, which takes their flooding prices
You
through
have
the
to-
roof.
yeah,
Because
you
now
can't do
water, hydrostatic pressure water cannot break those vents anymore. Some of them will even use metal and close them
Yeah.
and completely seal them off, and you can't do that, but people don't know it. They'll let these pest control companies come in and close them and never open them again. They think they need to be closed forever.
Yeah.
And now you've just raised your lowest floor from the dirt
Right.
to the top of your house. You've just raised the lowest floor in your flood rating by 2 feet, and so it's
If
a
not more.
massive
Yeah.
$2,000-3,000 difference a year in flood prices.
Yeah. So you gotta, we have to deal with FEMA, we have to deal with, so the flood vents that are automatic are the best way to do it. That way you have the best of both worlds. I'm encapsulating,
So you can
protecting your house.
encapsulate
I'm trying
and still
to use a flood.
have breakaways.
That is
That's
correct.
really good to know.
Yeah, we're building science, guys, so there is a science to what we do. Not putting down any industry, but if you're chasing bugs, keep chasing bugs, right? So there is a science to it. And when we're giving you solutions, it's backed up by science.
But a lot of these companies, they just are trying to get the solution because they want to encapsulate to make the money and put the,
100%.
And I don't have a problem with that. Encapsulating a house is very good for the house
You
from
see that.
a
It's
huge
beautiful
standard.
if done right.
But you can't negate the flooding
100%.
issues.
I agree. I agree
It's good
100%.
to know.
Anybody else? Question?
Yes,
I
ma'am.
do. So, last year, my house burned down with the front of it. Our neighbors caught our house on fire, last year. So when they rebuilt everything last year, now, like, my bottom floor, even though the heat is turned on, it still stays completely cold. And then my top floor will feel like I'm in a sauna.
Okay.
So I'm not sure how I'm supposed to go about that. So that's why I'm glad I'm here today because it's been horrible.
Do you have one system for 2 floors?
2.
You have 2 systems?
Yeah, we have an upstairs and downstairs system.
Okay. You need us over there to take a look at what's going on. The typical response is 1 system, 2 floors. And all the heats, rises, all the cold air falls. So you'll never, ever capture. You can't beat God. Heat rises, cold air falls. So typically when I hear that, it's because they have 1 system for 2 floors, and it's almost impossible to do that. So I would have to see. One of your systems is not working properly.
Okay.
Easy
So-
set.
That brings me to a question. So you gave us all your card. This is Chuck Worley on
That
it.
is me.
Who do you want us to, for instance, I've been thinking of several people that could use your help with this. Do I give them your card, or do I just say call Worley's?
Yeah, that is not my cell phone. So yes,
Okay,
you can
okay,
give it to
great.
me,
Yeah,
But-
that's great.
yeah.
Okay.
That, they'll know that you met me or whatever by calling that phone number, so that dials in, through my line.
Awesome, good for you.
That is it's a great way to track it, so.
Great.
Let's see if this is, bringing us into business, right?
Right, that's
That
right.
guy's an idiot, we're never calling him.
Really good presentation.
All
Okay.
right,